All right, so what are your guys' names and what school do you go to?
Okay, my name is Hung, and I go to Boston Latin.
My name's Scott Bullocky, and I teach science.
My name is Kathleen Bateman, and I'm the department head for the science program here at Latin School.
My name is Jordan Goldwarg, and I teach history here at Boston.
Betty Davis, and I teach mathematics.
My name is Garrett Friedman. I'm a junior at Boston Latin.
I'm Saul, and I just graduated from Boston Latin.
I'm Jessica Southwick. I teach physics, and this year I taught at Environmental Science School.
My name is Lynn Mooney-Tata. I'm a proud alumna of the class of 1986 and currently serve as headmaster at Boston Latin School.
Well, on the day when we had the National Climate Change Teach-In, I decided to do a lesson with my class with juniors and seniors, which is called Facing History. And that class really tries to examine history through a lens of social justice and sort of looking at issues of equality and inequality. And it also tends to try to link things to the present quite a bit. And so on that day, we actually looked more at contemporary issues of environmental injustice.
So over the last few years, I've been adding something I call energy interludes into the Physics 1 curriculum. And so that's been something I've been interested in for a long time, the question of we learn about physics, we learn about energy in physics, but then do we talk about the societal questions related to energy?
In 96, when was it? 96, we had a rain that lasted for over a week, and the Green Line flooded. Okay, and that was just rain. Okay, we're not talking something permanent here. So how might you be able to get to East Boston now? What are you going to do? Can you take a tunnel? What are you going to do? How are you going to get there?
And do you guys feel that you really benefited from the lessons that were taught, from the mole calculations and the calculation of kind of larger energy use and things like that?
Personally, I have absolutely. What comes to mind right away is physics. We did a whole, census over how much energy we use. And when you really look at that and every, joule that you're using, you realize how you can, help everyone by helping yourself when you really have the numbers to see it.
It's a very powerful thing to be asked, sort of like, well, what do you think? Going into something, you're about to learn about something, but what's your idea now? And so to see a majority of them thinking that it was a very small amount of carbon dioxide being put in the atmosphere by burning a gallon of gasoline at the beginning, we took a class vote and we tallied it and wrote that on the board. And then at the end of class, when they had calculated it and had found that a lot of their initial ideas were incorrect, and now they have a new understanding of it, that is a very powerful thing.
Hopefully they walk away with a moral obligation to act when they see an environmental injustice, if you will, which is my most important thing I want to teach kids. The second thing they walk away from is knowledge and a way of understanding the world we live in and the environment that we live in.
So 0.035 pounds of carbon dioxide? Yeah. Okay, so if you're on the Atkins diet and you're only eating meat, protein, which has been shown to be very harmful for your health, you are releasing or using 0.035 pounds of carbon dioxide just to make that patty.
Every class, without exception, I feel could have sustainability part of their curriculums. It really doesn't matter. Right now, it's mostly just in science classes, but history, English, math, and science, they all have relevance to what's going on because this is something that affects absolutely everything.
I think it's fun, actually, that whenever we have any kind of issues, to try to fit it into what we do in our class, if we possibly can. And a lot of times it's really hard to fit math into things that happen and come up with some good activities. And where this really had some good activities, I thought that was great because math is a tool. And it's a tool that we use. And I think it's really important for kids to see that they can apply their mathematics to things.
We spent a lot of time this year talking about rhetorical strategies and appeals. I'd like to talk a little bit today about some of the appeals that Al Gore makes in this intro, and some of the rhetorical strategies he uses to achieve his purpose.
So we looked at things like the UN's Rio Declaration on Sustainable Development, and the fact that that declaration obliges wealthier countries to aid poorer countries in their development so that those countries can develop in more equitable ways. We looked also at things like the problems of electronic waste being dumped from wealthier countries like the United States to poorer countries like China and India, and the fact that the U.S. is basically exporting its pollution and exporting its waste to poorer countries where people often don't have the political clout to resist against that.
Traditionally, before the past few years, it has primarily been limited to our environmental science elective for members of Class 2 or Class 1, either at the regular or the advanced placement level. And with the support of Youth Can and certainly Ms. Arnold's advocacy, each year we participate in the spring in a national teach-in on the issue of climate change, and the whole school becomes alive. Teachers in all departments are teaching about the environment, about choices people have to make. In the math class, you might see students analyzing statistics. In an English class, you might see students acting out a drama or a skit about issues. The students do a great deal of they do public service announcements, they make signs, and really try to bring the issue home to students.
The leaders of tomorrow need education today about the problems they will be asked to find solutions for. Help us prepare to become tomorrow's leaders in finding solutions for global climate change. Please support the Massachusetts Climate Literacy Campaign and help us make climate change education a requirement in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I think what teachers really do is, because so much these days you hear like just these general things like, oh, climate change is bad, or you hear these facts. I think what a good opportunity in the classroom is to get very specific with like personally, kind of connect, like kind of
Personal examples.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, because you get the general ones all the time. So if you have the classroom opportunity where it's kind of it's granted it's a teacher to 30 kids, but it's still better than a poster speaking to millions.
So, start your calculations. I'll come around in case you have any questions. Once we have some low and high estimates, let me know, and I'd like to get them on the board.
So for me, it worked out all right because I was already working on the energy issues and putting them as a real centerpiece of my physics curriculum. And I think I would support that more widely as using energy as a centerpiece to a physics curriculum. How does the global warming fit into that is a little bit of a tougher question, because it's not as easy to put the global warming into the physics curriculum, whereas it is easy to make the energy and the idea of having students think about where do we get our energy in the future. That should be a central question of physics.
It's relatively simple to incorporate this information into both classes. Environmental science, it's the study of the environment, so that goes without explanation. To put some of this information, some of the data into a physics class is very simple because physics is all about energy. We can do the same with chemistry. If we want to take a look at the chemistry of what's going on when water's purified through a natural aquifer versus what's happening out of the Quabbin Reservoir, that can be a chemical process. And earth science, again, lends itself naturally to the study of the environment. And lastly, all the biological processes that take place in environmental science are very cool, and they are often rarely studied. There's bacteria that will actually digest oil from an oil spill, which I doubt any of the kids in the school even think about oil spills. But if they did, they could actually study how that works in the laboratory and how that can be applied to a large oil spill in the environmental science.
I definitely think that these issues should be integrated into the curriculum. Environmental science as a standalone course is certainly beneficial, and students learn a great deal. I believe that the themes of climate change and sustainability can be integrated into everything that we're teaching now. When I meet with seniors who are getting ready to go off to college, and they talk about how much they learned in environmental science, and that they may even be pursuing environmental science as a career path, which is unheard of 5-10 years ago. And for our students to be prepared for the future, they need to have this knowledge and this skill set and this background to be productive citizens of the earth.
Do you think that this material can be incorporated into the state curriculum? Do you think it would really add to the current curriculum?
I certainly believe it would enhance the curriculum.
Yes, it should. Our schools need to make sure our students are prepared to understand and deal with this issue.
But just having it in the state curriculum does a world of difference.
But once you have a built curriculum, these different teachers rather than conflicting with each other can help students realize how this all comes together as one.
And it's nice if we can have the kids doing different things on that same issue across the curriculum.
Absolutely.
Yes, because it's so simple to add to every subject.
But yes, absolutely.
I just think it's really important that we get a climate change curriculum in. We start in Massachusetts and we get the state to pass it, then maybe that'll inspire other states to push for the same curriculum.